Hello everyone, it is Esther here and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about The Lobster, which I already kind of made a video about. However, I didn't really review it, I sort of just talked about how depressing it was. And if you want to watch that video, it is called The Lobster and Other Films That Depress Me. So yes, today in my A24 series, we're going to be talking about The Lobster, which was a film I watched sort of on a whim. I literally just realised that Colin Farrell was in it and I watched it because I love him, so yeah, that's how I came across it. Very odd and very depressing, as I've said before. However, I think over time I've kind of come to realise that it's actually a really good movie. I just hated it when I first watched it because I was confused. But yeah, let's just get started, my dude. So this film, as I said before, stars Colin Farrell and Rachel Weisz, or Weisz. I'm really shit with names, if you didn't know. It's directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, or Yorgos Lanthimos, or whatever, you know, it's a Greek name. Do I need to explain myself? And this guy is amazing. He is one of my favourite directors. I love him so much. I've seen almost all of his films now. I've seen this one, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, and Dogtooth. The only one I haven't seen is the most recent one, which is The Favourite, which I just missed out on seeing in the cinemas when it came out. So yeah, I'm pretty devastated. The plot is very weird and very unique, however, also kind of simple with its rules. In a dystopian near future, single people, according to the laws of the city, are taken to the hotel, where they are obliged to find a romantic partner in 45 days or are transformed into beasts and set off into the woods. Although its core theme is essentially how single people are treated much differently to couples in society. So in that sense, I think this movie is very realistic. Another thing that I want to mention is just this one tiny little moment in the movie which I found really interesting, because it is very accurate to real life, is when at the start where the main character goes to the hotel, he checks in, and they ask him what his sexuality is, and he says, is bisexual an option? And the woman says, due to complications it is not an option, which I found really interesting because I feel like a lot of people, especially older generations, do not understand bisexuality at all. A lot of people seem to think that you can either be gay or straight, which is not true at all. Especially one of my older relatives, which I will not mention just in case she might for some reason be watching this, she always asks me if I have a boyfriend, and I keep having to remind her that I'm not just interested in boys. But yeah, this scene, just this little moment in the scene really hit home. Is that the phrase that people like to use? I really understood it because it was something that I had gone through myself and that I understand. And yeah, I just found it interesting and accurate to life. So let's get into the pros. I've already mentioned one. However, one of my pros people might think is kind of a controversial one because a lot of people hate this movie for this reason, and that is the deadpan dialogue.
Yes, a lobster.
Why a lobster?
Because lobsters live for over 100 years. Are blue-blooded, like aristocrats. And stay fertile all their lives. I also like the sea. Very much. I water ski and swim quite well since I was a teenager.
It's like his signature. You can tell it's a Lanthimos film if the characters are talking like they're dead inside and they have no idea what the hell is happening. And this signature style ties into the overall bleakness of this dystopian film, and I think that a lot of his movies focus on the nature of humans and things like revenge in The Killing of a Sacred Deer, and in Dogtooth it was about parents and how we raise children and the methods, however questionable they may be, if the methods of parenting have a certain set of rules and what's good and what's bad. And with the lobster, it's about how humans see relationships and the value of a person by whether or not they can produce children or not. Because although the hotel situation, it does allow gay people, I am still kind of getting undertones of you need to have kids, otherwise you're worthless sort of mentality that a lot of people have for some reason. Now, believe it or not, this movie is actually kind of a comedy, like a dark comedy or a black comedy. I don't know which one I'm supposed to say, but you know what I mean. It's kind of like funny in its depression, you know? And whether you like this movie or not, you can't really deny that it is unforgettable, you know? It's really hard to forget such weird moments as the dog's death and the emotionless woman, or even some really questionable lines in the movie. It's just so odd and strange that it's just really hard to forget. So, whether or not you like this film or not, you can at least say that the director did his job by making it noticeable and unique. That's the most important thing, I think. At least it wasn't boring. Like, some people found it boring in the sense that the pacing was slow. However, it's this slow pace that makes all of the strange events in it even more shocking, I think. Now, I don't actually have that many cons. When I first watched this film, I absolutely hated it. However, the movies that I have hated when I first watched them, I have learnt to love like a lot, such as Hereditary and Us. I watched this at home after I think it was my parents' like anniversary dinner or something, and I came home and I was home alone for a bit and it was like super late at night, so I just put this movie on and yeah, it was an experience. And as much as I felt weird afterwards and Loki couldn't sleep, I still think that it was worth it and it was really enjoyable. Although it did make me feel quite empty inside. My main con really is that there was no hope for the main character because either he gets a partner in the hotel and just lives a super boring life where he has to stay with his one partner. I mean, you can break up with them, but then you've got to go through the process again. So he's got to stay with his one partner, have kids, and just live a boring ass life in a house somewhere with a job, and it's just boring and uninteresting. Or he fails and gets turned into an animal, or he stays and lives with the people in the woods where he can't enjoy himself because all they do is like barely talk to each other, try not to get killed, and like they can't even have relationships then. So it's just, it seems like there's no good path, which I suppose is accurate considering this is technically a dystopian film, because dystopians are usually about like situations where everything's shit. So, in conclusion, I believe that this is a very depressing watch. However, if you can get past the dialogue and the slow pacing and the overall weirdness, you can find the commentary on how society perceives single people and how society perceives relationships and life in general. So it is quite a deep watch. However, if you're in the mood for it, it is definitely worth it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in my next A24 video. I'm not sure which one it will be because I'm just sort of editing and uploading as much as I can and scheduling it for the rest of the summer. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. I will see you guys later. Goodbye.